Most people raising chickens believe they're making the smartest decision for their farm. But that belief is quietly costing them money every single day. Because what many beginners don't realize is that there are duck breeds that grow faster, survive better, eat cheaper, and in some cases, produce more eggs than chickens ever could. And yet, almost nobody talks about them. In fact, some of these ducks can completely transform a struggling backyard setup into a profitable system, while one of them, the one many people choose first, can quietly drain your time, your feed, and your patience without you even realizing it. So before you invest another day into raising the wrong birds, you need to see this. Because today, we're breaking down 10 duck breeds that are more profitable than chickens, and why choosing the wrong one could set you back months. Now here's the truth most people don't tell you. Raising poultry isn't just about keeping birds alive. It's about efficiency. It's about output. And most importantly, it's about return. If your birds eat too much and produce too little, you're losing money. If they fall sick easily, you're losing money. If they grow slowly, you're losing time, and time is money. That's why more small farmers are quietly shifting toward ducks. Because ducks are tougher. They forage better. They resist diseases more naturally. And in the right conditions, they outperform chickens in ways that most beginners never expect. But not all ducks are created equal. Some will make you money. Others will waste your effort. And one should be avoided completely. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up, because the first duck on this list may look simple, but it's one of the fastest ways to start seeing real results. Number 9, the Pekin duck. At first glance, it doesn't look special. It's white, bulky, and honestly kind of ordinary. But this duck is a machine. Pekin ducks grow incredibly fast, reaching market size in just a few weeks. That means quicker turnover, faster sales, and less time spent feeding birds that aren't yet profitable. And in farming, speed matters. The longer you feed an animal without return, the more it costs you. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Pekin ducks are in high demand for meat. Restaurants, local markets, and households all recognize them. That means you're not just raising birds. You're raising something people already want. And when demand is built in, selling becomes easier. But there's a catch. If you overfeed them without managing growth properly, your feed costs can skyrocket. And that's where beginners go wrong. They assume more food equals faster profit. But smart farmers understand balance. Controlled feeding, efficient growth, maximum output. Do it right. And the Pekin becomes one of the most reliable income sources you can have. Now, let's move to something even more powerful. Because the next duck doesn't just grow fast. It produces. Number 8, the Khaki Campbell. This duck doesn't just compete with chickens when it comes to eggs. It beats them. Khaki Campbells are known for laying between 200 and 300 eggs per year. Think about that for a second. That's consistent production, almost all year round. And unlike many chickens, they don't slow down as easily under pressure. They are active, efficient, and built for output. If your goal is egg production, this duck is a serious contender. Now here's what makes it even better. Duck eggs are often larger than chicken eggs, and in many markets, they sell for more, which means you're not just producing more, you're earning more per egg. But again, there's something most people overlook. These ducks are energetic. They move a lot, and if your setup doesn't allow for that movement, their performance drops. So while they are powerful producers, they need the right environment. Give them space, and they will reward you. Restrict them, and you lose their advantage. Now the next duck changes the game completely, because this one doesn't just eat. It works for you. Number 7, the Indian runner duck. This duck is different. Tall, upright, always moving, and constantly searching. While chickens scratch the ground randomly, Indian runners actively hunt. They hunt insects. They hunt pests. They hunt everything that would normally damage your farm, which means something very important. They reduce your feed costs. Every insect they eat is money saved. Every pest they remove is protection for your crops. And this is where ducks begin to separate themselves from chickens, because they don't just consume resources. They contribute to your system. Now imagine this. Instead of spending money on feed and pest control, Your birds are handling it for you. That's efficiency. That's smart farming. But there's one thing to understand. Indian runners are not built for heavy meat production. Their strength is in activity, not bulk. So if your goal is meat, they're not your best option. But if your goal is sustainability, low-cost feeding, and natural pest control, they are one of the best choices you can make. And we're just getting started. Because the next duck on this list doesn't just save money. It solves a problem many farmers don't even realize they have. Now here's where things begin to shift. Because the next duck on this list solves something that frustrates a lot of farmers, especially those raising birds in residential areas. Noise. Number 6, the Muscovy duck. This duck is unlike most others. It doesn't quack loudly like typical ducks. Instead, it makes a soft hissing sound, which means something very important. You can raise them without disturbing everyone around you. Now, that may not sound like a big deal at first, but for small-scale farmers, it changes everything. Because noise complaints can shut down your operation faster than anything else. Muscovy ducks remove that problem completely. But that's not even their biggest advantage. They grow into large birds with lean, high-quality meat. And in many markets, Muscovy meat is considered premium, which means higher value per bird. And here's something even more interesting. They are excellent foragers. They don't rely entirely on feed. They search, they find, they eat naturally. So once again, your costs go down. But like every good thing, there's a catch. Muscovy ducks require a bit more awareness when it comes to breeding and management. They're not as straightforward as some other breeds. So while they are highly profitable, they require a bit more attention. Now let's move to a duck that brings balance. Because not everyone wants to choose between eggs and meat. Some people want both. Number 5, the Welsh Harlequin. This duck is what many farmers call a dual-purpose bird. It produces a solid number of eggs, and also grows well enough for meat, which means you're not limiting your income to just one stream. You have flexibility. You can sell eggs consistently, and still raise birds for meat when needed. That's diversification. And in farming, diversification reduces risk. If egg prices drop, you still have meat. If meat demand slows, you still have eggs. But here's the key. Welsh Harlequins perform best when they are properly managed. They need good feeding balance and a clean environment. Neglect them and their performance drops. Care for them properly, and they become one of the most reliable breeds on a small farm. Now the next duck is built for something even more important. Survival. Number 4, the Ancona duck. This duck thrives where others struggle. Harsh conditions, unpredictable weather, limited resources, while chickens may fall sick or slow down. Ancona ducks keep going. They are hardy, resilient, and incredibly adaptable, which means fewer losses. And fewer losses mean more profit, because nothing destroys a farm faster than constant bird deaths. Now here's something else. They are also strong egg producers. So you're not sacrificing output for survival. You're getting both. But like many resilient animals, they require space to perform at their best. Crowding them reduces their advantage. Give them room, and they thrive. Now, let's step into something a bit more unique. Because the next duck doesn't just produce, it attracts attention. Number 3, the Cayuga duck. At first glance, it looks striking. Dark feathers with glossy finish. But what really sets it apart is its eggs. Early in the laying season, Cayuga ducks can produce dark-colored eggs, and that uniqueness creates value. Because in certain markets, unique products sell faster. They stand out. They attract buyers. They create curiosity. And curiosity drives demand. Now, beyond appearance, Cayugas are calm, manageable, and reliable layers. They're not the highest producers, but they offer something different. And sometimes, different is exactly what sells. But here's the truth. If your goal is maximum production, there are stronger options. Cayugas shine in niche markets, not mass production. Now, let's move to something beginners need. Stability. Number 2, the Buff Orpington duck. If you're just starting out, this is one of the safest choices you can make. These ducks are calm, easy to handle, and very forgiving when it comes to mistakes. Which is important because beginners make mistakes. and the wrong breed can punish you for it. But Buff Orpingtons give you room to learn. They produce a good number of eggs. They grow decently for meat, and they adapt well to different environments. They are not the absolute best at one thing, but they are good at everything. And for beginners, that balance is powerful, because consistency builds confidence, and confidence builds progress. Now we've reached the top, but before we reveal number one, you need to remember something. Not every duck that looks good on paper is good for your farm, because the next duck may be the best overall choice. But the final one is the one you must avoid. Now this is where everything comes together, because the next duck on this list isn't just good, it's one of the most overlooked profit opportunities in backyard farming. Number one, the magpie duck. Most people don't even consider this breed, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. Because while everyone is focused on common choices, the smart farmers are quietly using ducks like this to get ahead. Magpie ducks are efficient. They convert feed well. They produce a strong number of eggs, and they remain active foragers, reducing your feeding costs naturally. That combination is rare, because usually you have to choose between production and efficiency. But here you get both. Now think about what that means. More eggs, lower feed costs, better sustainability. That's how you build profit. Not just by producing more, but by spending less to produce it. And this is where many beginners go wrong. They chase the biggest birds, or the most popular breeds, instead of focusing on efficiency. And efficiency is what separates struggling farmers from successful ones. Now at this point, you've seen what works. You've seen ducks that grow faster, lay more, survive better, and cost less to maintain than chickens. But there's one final thing you need to understand, because everything we've talked about can be undone by choosing the wrong duck. And this is the mistake many people make. The one we warned you about from the beginning. Number 10, the call duck. Now at first glance, it seems harmless, small, attractive, easy to manage. But that's exactly the problem, because it gives the illusion of value without actually delivering it. Call ducks are not built for production. They lay very few eggs. They don't grow well for meat, and they require attention that doesn't translate into profit, which means something very simple. You are investing time without getting results. And in farming, that's the worst trade you can make. Now to be clear, call ducks are not useless. They are great as ornamental birds. They look good. They add life to a space. But if your goal is profit, they will slow you down. And that's why so many beginners regret choosing them. Because by the time they realize a mistake, they've already lost time, feed, and momentum. And momentum is everything. Because once you lose it, it's hard to get it back. So here's the bottom line. If you want to build a profitable system, you need to think differently. Don't follow what everyone else is doing. Don't assume chickens are the best option. And don't choose birds based on appearance alone. Choose based on performance. Choose based on efficiency. Choose based on results. Because the right ducks won't just survive on your farm. They will multiply your output, reduce your costs, and turn your setup into something that actually works. And if you're serious about building something like that, if you want to learn how to raise smarter, not harder, if you want to avoid the mistakes that cost most beginners months of progress, then this is just the beginning. Because on this channel, Herd and Harvest, we break down real strategies, real systems, and real methods that actually work in livestock farming. No fluff, no guesswork, just practical knowledge that helps you grow faster. So if you haven't already, subscribe to Herd and Harvest, because the next video might be the one that changes how you farm forever.